Hey everyone, welcome to the Jonesin 4 show. And this episode, we are going to have a blast. You can see I'm already laughing because I've already tried this intro like 2 times and it sucked. But now this one was awesome. We're going to rock and roll. Today, we're going to talk about going after big goals, going after those dreams that you have, those big, scary, audacious goals. And who else better to talk about this than someone who has big goals, someone who is an elite athlete, one who has done an Ironman before, and not just one, but multiple, and is crazy enough and energetic enough to keep going after it. We are talking today with Ironwoman, Alysha Krall. Welcome, Alysha, to the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Our story is kind of interesting. At first, how we met. So if you followed my journey at all, you realize that last year in 2019, I took a trip out west with my brother-in-law to go kayak fishing for sturgeon was the main purpose of the trip. But we hit up a bunch of different parks and national parks along the way. And in one of the stops, we were filling up for gas, and I went in to get a cup of coffee because I love my coffee. And here I see Alysha walk in, not knowing who she is or anything, but she's wearing an Ironman jersey on, or something that Ironman branded on it. I'm like, oh, hey, have you done an Ironman before? Actually, I think it was Ironman 70.3.
Yeah.
And I'm going, that's cool. I just did one. And so we started, just chatting about it. And then, hey, are you on social media? Sure. So then she gave me her Instagram handle and all that stuff. So I looked there, and then I've been following her journey ever since. And I saw videos and photos of her competing across the country and training and helping people go after their goals. And I thought, who else would be better to talk about going after goals? So Alysha, tell us a little bit about you, about your background, and the stuff you want to do.
Yeah, so I grew up as a runner, like from a super young age, probably like most endurance athletes. I had a lot of energy. So I ran, and my parents loved it because it's like the only thing that could wear me out. So, and I talked a lot probably when I was younger. So yeah, so I was pretty much a runner, and I'm from Indiana, so of course I play basketball. And then I moved out west to the University of Wyoming and ran cross country and track there.
Wow.
And after college, I got a real job, and I wouldn't say that I put athletics on the back burner. I would say that I put like competing on the back burner, because after college I was like, I don't really want to do another workout. I don't want to get back on the track anymore. Like, I just want to go out and run and not feel pain.
Nice.
So I did that for a couple of years, and then I moved down to Australia for work. And while I was in Australia, I was like, okay, it's time for me to get back competing again. And I had done a couple half marathons, so I was like, okay, so logically the next move is ultra marathons,
Obviously.
Yeah, so I did one. Actually, I did a few ultra trail marathons, and I was not in shape for them, like, at all. Like, I highly recommend doing a longer run than probably 90 minutes one time before an ultra marathon. But anyway, so I was walking, shocker, so I was walking during the race. And I was walking with a lady, and she had done Ironman, and she was like, I don't know, she was crazy. So she's like, you should just do triathlon and Ironman. It's so much easier than ultra marathons. And like instantly I was like, yes, that's my next path in life, because she says it's easier, and I'm in so much pain right now. Like, I had been out there on the trail for 9+ hours.
Oh,
and
you've only trained for an hour and a half up to that point in time? Like, that was your
yeah.
Yeah, that would hurt.
I had like bad food poisoning 2 nights before. So like the day before the race, I couldn't even walk without throwing up and getting out of bed. So, I mean, in hindsight, I should not have done the race. But it was like genius.
Yeah, why not? I mean, you gave something new a try and see how it went, and it was an experience.
Yeah, exactly. So after that, I bought a bathing suit, and started looking on what is Australia's I guess, equivalent to Craigslist for a bike.
Mm-hmm.
And see, that was May or June. And then of 2016. And then my first race was a half distance in November. Well, it was almost a half distance, and then but my first legit half distance was actually the jersey I had on when we met was Topa in New Zealand. So yeah.
Wow.
And then yeah. And after that, I was kind of hooked because I did really bad in the swim. I almost drowned. Hyperventilated. It was so cold. Like the water was so cold. I don't know what it was in Fahrenheit, but Celsius, it was 14.2.
Yeah, that's cold.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's mid to low 50s. But I did really good on the bike and the run. And I think I got fourth in my age group. But
wow.
I had I think I might have had the fastest run in my age group and one of the fastest bikes in my age group, but like horrible swim. It was like 40-minute swim. It was like 40 something. I didn't break 40 minutes in the swim.
And you're talking to a person who has currently only done one half Ironman, and I was happy with that. And I think my time, which I was ecstatic for the swim, was 42 minutes, and I was like, sweet, it beat my goal. I was so happy with that. But I know where I can improve on because I won. Now it was a great baseline for me. Although I mean it was awesome, and now I just get to push myself that much more. So good for you for just jumping in full throttle with it and just having fun and learning from that ultra marathon going, not totally for me, or maybe I should have trained it. And now you can look back and go, yeah, an hour and a half, not enough time. I needed to spend more time training for that.
No, I have never been more sore after a race than I have like been ultra trail marathons. But then again, like I said, I was definitely never in shape for any of them. So of course you're going to have massive muscle breakdown.
Oh yeah, huge with something that big, especially 9+ hours on the trail. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So how many, if you can remember, we won't deal with like the sprint triathlons or Olympic ones if you've done any, but how many half Ironmans or similar length events have you done, whether Ironman branded or not, but halves or fulls have you done?
I don't know on the halves. On the fulls, I've done 7. I started 8 and I finished 7. The one that I DNF'd, I had really bad food poisoning in Mexico. And I do not regret at all, like, pulling out of that race. It was bad.
I've noticed this trend here, food poisoning where you go. I mean, maybe if we hang out, go for a race, I won't be eating with you just to be safe. I don't know.
No, what's crazy is I think I've only gotten food poisoning 3 times in my life. The first one was when I was like 7.
Okay.
And then the last 2 times was, right before or during a race. And anyways, and halves, I don't know. So when I started triathlon, so I did 2 in 2016, probably within 3 weeks to 4 weeks apart. And they were 70.3 distance. And then in 2017, we lived in Australia, but then we moved back to the US. So we started racing at the beginning of 2017 in Australia. So in January, that's their summer. And then coming back to the US, we actually spent a month in Europe. And so then I did 2 races there.
Nice.
And then I caught the beginning and the end of the season here in the US. So needless to say, like before I had a coach, when I self-coached myself, I just raced myself into shape and to get all that experience. And I don't regret it. I actually do think, if someone is wanting to coach themselves and get into triathlon super quick, if you can afford it, and if you live somewhere, say like in Florida or California, or maybe even Texas, where there's a lot of races, like local and big branded races, just get out there and race. Like, you don't have to, this is a rabbit hole. Like, you don't have to, just kill it every time, but, just use it for a workout, an aided workout. So, probably, I'd say over 20 halves I've done. And then I haven't done very many Olympic or sprints, just honestly, because the swim, like you have to have that swim speed, like that takeout speed. And I don't have it yet. I'm getting it.
Right.
So I just get pommeled in the swim, and then I don't have enough time then to come back on the bike and the run.
That makes a lot of sense. And I like what you said. We'll go down the rabbit hole a little bit here because we're talking about going after big goals. So you set this big goal, and in this case, we're talking about triathlon, but it could be anything. It could be, a physical goal, a race, or not.
Yeah.
But, you can hire a coach or you don't have to hire a coach, right?
Yeah.
There's just two options for you. And I've done both personally.
Yeah.
And I think most people have. They first try to do it on their own. They do it on the cheap. They figure it out. There's so many things online now, programs online that you can take from. You could either do it verbatim or you could take and modify it for yourself. And this goes, fitness goals, but any goal, there's plans online for it that you can follow. And then you could take it to the next level. Like I'm assuming you have a coach. And I have a coach for myself for triathlons that once I did that took it to the next level. Well, you didn't have to, and I didn't have to. I noticed that it definitely helped once I did get one, but there's no reason, especially if you're getting into it, like put it together, piece it together. And we, my coach and I started using other races, the sprint size one, Olympic size ones, as benchmarks and training points as I went for my bigger goals. So it's using the smaller ones as this training. But again, you don't need a coach to do it. You can do it all yourself. Just be smart about it, plan it out. Don't do a 9-hour event and only been out for an hour and a half. Right.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that because I actually just had coffee with a potential athlete to train him, and he's like 100% beginner, and he asked me the exact same thing, and I said, yeah, if you are going to be self-coached, just be cautious, because like me and you, like we both had, say, a sporting background, and I ran Division I, so I kind of knew how to structure stuff.
Right.
I knew I had a pretty good understanding of what you should and you shouldn't do. And for the run, and that translated very well to the bike. Like I was able to pick up biking and make massive improvements by coaching myself. That the swimming, no, like I had no clue with the swimming. I honestly probably lost. I'm serious. I probably lost over a year, like in my swimming, I guess, progression,
right?
Because I was trying to self-coach myself, because I thought if I swam 2 times 30 minutes a week, I'm gonna get so much better.
Right.
But I do agree with you. Like, yes, people can self-coach themselves, but I say be cautious that one, you trust yourself, and you trust that your body. Because the two biggest issues that I see when people coach themselves is overtraining, and injury.
And then coming back off the injury, thinking you're healed or thinking, oh, I could do it, it doesn't hurt that much or whatever, and you're just going to aggravate it and re-injure yourself again. And you have to let it fully heal. For example, I've been working with my shoulder. I don't know exactly what I did. It was back in December. We're recording this in mid-February, so it's about 2 months. And I had this weird shoulder injury where I still worked out. I still felt it a little bit. I probably should have stopped, but I didn't. And then it just got to the point where like, man, this is really hurting. Let's take a week off. So of my regular workouts. Yeah. And so I did. And I focused more on cardio and just didn't really move my shoulder much. By the end of that week, I'm like, let's give it a shot again. Tried one. Nope. Did one workout. It almost re-injured it in the sense, but it just re-aggravated it really quick. Thankfully, didn't re-injure it. And then I took a solid 2 weeks off where I didn't lift. I didn't do anything like that. I did cardio, yoga, stuff that wouldn't hurt my shoulder. Made sure I was still doing stuff, but then I was able now, this is my second day back into my workout routine, and it feels great because now I could lift. I'm being smart about what I'm doing. I'm not going like crazy heavy or going nuts, but I'm making sure everything's in check, but I'm still able to lift and do those things that I need to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's interesting, our different backgrounds, like you were, and I interviewed Ted McDonald, who's another Ironman on the show as well, and he and you both have this background in sports. And for me, I totally don't. I was homeschooled. I have no background in sports, didn't play. I was a musician, sports ball what? Like, I don't know, right? Didn't really run until I graduated college and decided to get fit and healthy. But thankfully I had my brother-in-laws who are really, really fit, and they helped guided me with the
Yeah.
workout routine, and then the running came on with it. And then when I started into triathlons, then it was because I was something I've always kind of wanted to do, but put off because I didn't like running at all or biking. Then I started liking running, and biking I enjoyed and put that together. But because I had family members,
Advisors.
people
Yeah.
to help coach-ish without coaching, that gave me that background. And plus the workouts and other background I have of lifting and yoga and all those things,
Yeah.
um, that helps round me out at least. So now I'm able to see where I can help myself and help improve myself and not injure myself or anyone else.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's important to have advisors, and that was it was another point I was going to make. Yeah, if you coach yourself, like it's good to have an advisor, just like to have go and have coffee with someone, once a month, and make sure that they're smarter than you in a lot of aspects.
Well, and most,
So you could say, hey, yeah,
oh, sorry, go on. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
like if all of a sudden you're running 15 miles and long runs, but you have a 70.3 that's 3 months away, and you should be like, hey, is this right? And probably be like, no, that's not, it's a little aggressive.
Right.
Back off a little bit. Just have someone to bounce something off of is always really beneficial too.
Well, it's nice if you have those advisors or friends or family members like that. Advisors, they're all, it could be advisors for you. You go out, as you said, buy them a cup of coffee, and then you can chat. They can help you with your goals. You can help them with theirs.
Yeah,
right? So it's
exactly.
Let's dive into going after big goals. You have this huge goal, and when we talked back in last year when I met you for the first time, you said that you're going for your pro card and you were honing in on the couple things you wanted to do before you applied for your pro card, which is awesome. So, but how did you decide to do that? Like, you've been pushing yourself, you jumped into triathlon. Like, how do you decide that I'm going to jump in with this big goal of going pro with Ironman or triathlon?
Honestly, I think I had that goal after the very first 70.3 I did.
Okay.
I was like, I can swim, or I can't, sorry, not swim. I can bike and I can run. And I know that, with a little bit of improvement, like I'm on par. And I'm just like, but the swim is like minutes behind. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, that's something, I would love to do. And I was like, why not? Why not? And yeah, it's one of those, I was told one time, like, if your goals don't scare you, then they're not big enough.
Right.
So I was definitely a scary goal, and I was like, let's go after it.
I love it. So you found, or something was brought up to you, or you realized something that really resonated with you, is what I'm hearing, that you're like, oh yeah, that scares me, but it really excites me too. It makes me nervous, but I get excited thinking about it. And that's how you knew that was a goal for you. Is that kind of what I'm hearing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Awesome.
And I wanted to know, or I still want to know and find out the best athlete that I can be. And I tell people, if I'm the best athlete that I can be right now, then that's great. Like, I just need to make sure that that is the best athlete I can be. If I can be, a lot better with more hard work and dedication and commitment, then I want to find that out. And I feel, racing the pro field, you'll find that out because you're pushing yourself for that next level.
Totally. And I mean, so it's, yes, you are comparing yourself to other people in the sense of those races and pro cards, but you're more so, it sounds like, just challenging yourself to see how far and how good can I get personally at this point in time, and then where can I go and be at my personal best later on. So you're always pushing yourself to be better, to improve. Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah. I think a lot of times you have to have, when you have those big goals, whether they're physical goals or mental goals, like with your company, a lot your reason why, a lot of it has to come like internally and not so much externally, because there's going to be hard times and I feel like sometimes if it's an external goal, like a number or a statistic or a time that you want to hit, like,
Mhm.
I don't know, for me, it it's harder to stay focused when it's an external goal and like the going gets tough. But if it's that internal goal and you have a solid reason why, no matter what, when the going gets tough, like you can see through it, and why you're there and why you're doing it and why you're grinding and suffering.
Well, that actually addresses some of the next questions I have. I mean, you find your reason why that you want to accomplish this big goal that you have, and that's what drives you. The external goals are great. Getting the certain time is great, but if you don't have that, and that drives people, and it drives me and other people as well at times. But if you don't have that intrinsic goal or intrinsic purpose or reason why, then you're going to burn out at some point. It's you just won't be able to lift yourself up and keep pushing because you don't have a true or strong enough reason why to keep pushing.
Yeah, exactly.
So, so when the going gets tough, right, and you're in the thick of training, and it's miles after miles ahead of you that you have to do, how do you tap into that reason why to drive you to keep going? Like, what do you do? What's your technique? What's your trick?
I write on my arms with a permanent marker.
Nice.
And in my water bottles. No, but seriously, it's one of those things that you have to do a lot of visualization, and practice it even when everything is going good. For example, say take a long bike ride, right? Say take a 6-hour bike ride. Like in a 6-hour bike ride, it's gonna get hard. But if you practice the visualization and those cues and those positive words and those positive thoughts, in your day-to-day life, and then also during your shorter workouts during the week when it's getting tough. So when you're going out there for 6 hours and negativity starts creeping in, like you can easily combat it. So yeah, that's what I tell people is you have to practice a positive mindset all the time, because when the going gets tough, it's easier to fight it.
I love that. So it's almost like you're building up your defenses and getting more tools ready to go after that negativity when it comes. You're practicing it through your positive affirmations that you're saying, the visualization. Like, what do you visualize? And I know it can be very personal about what you visualize for certain things, but let's say you're on your let me just go to this. A long bike ride for her, 6 hours. A long bike ride for me is like 3 hours, right? And maybe for you, it's going 10 miles. Like, that's cool. Your long is your long, and ours is
Yeah.
right. That's totally cool. And this applies to all things in life. So, like, you're on your 6 hour bike ride, and the negativity starts coming in, and you have the sayings and affirmations on your arm, on your water bottles, on in your mind, and you're repeating them to yourself. But like, how do you visualize that beforehand? I mean, I know because I've done it at points, but it's different for everyone. How do you visualize before and during a training session or a race?
um yeah, different things, like whether it's just finishing a workout really strong. Say you're doing 400 repeats on the track, like visualize your last 400 repeat being your hardest, not your hardest, sorry, your fastest. And then if you're in that last 400 repeat, you're then visualizing the last point 2 or point 1 or whatever of a race, and finishing strong. And then when before your bike ride, say before your long bike ride, before you get out there, you're like, okay, I know in my head I usually suffer during this section and there's usually going to be a headwind, but you visualize in your head, like, I'm going to tell myself this, and this is what I'm going to do. And then now when you're out there in that tough section, now you're visualizing yourself on the Queen K, and you're visualizing yourself in a headwind, but you're super arrow, and now you're passing people. So yeah, there's just tons of different things that I visualize, like getting ready for a workout. I visualize things that are different than when I'm in a workout. I visualize things that are different. And then in a race, I will then go back then to the workouts And I tell people it's like having a library. You know, all of those workouts and races, it's a library. And so now when you're in that race, you're thinking, I go back to this library and I'm going back to this super hard bike set that I did. And then now I'm going back to this time that I felt really bad during this long bike ride, but I pulled through and I finished strong. And then now I visualize, oh, I felt really bad, say at Ironman Boulder during this race, but I had my best bike, you know, power ever. So I was able to turn it around, so I can turn it around now. So it's just going back to those library or that memory bank and just like pulling from it. So comes race day, like you just have a library.
I love that idea of those ideas, of those memories, of being a library for it, because that's exactly what it is. It's your memory banks. It's your library that you're able to draw on. And the fact that you visualize the different aspects of the workout, of your race, training, whatever it is, you have the different visualization points throughout it. And it made me think back to my training for my first half that I did, and even other races that I've done, and realize that I was doing that without even thinking about or realizing I was doing that.
Yep.
When I was training for that half and I was doing my brick workouts, which is a bike ride and then a run right after, in case anyone doesn't know, I know you know, but other people might not. But as I'm doing my brick workout and I'm suffering in that last mile of the run, well, I suffered a lot of it, but let's say the last mile I was really suffering. I was visualizing what it would feel like to cross the finish line as a half Ironman, right? And know what that felt like and feel that and keep pushing, because I know that the pain I was feeling then was going to make me stronger during the race. Mm-hmm. And then during the race day, my bike ride was great, and I had some really painful bike training sessions before that. And as I'm on the bike ride during the race and I'm going up the hills and I'm chatting with people as I'm going and cruising along, I think back and I visualize like, I really struggled before and I felt sick before and lightheaded at certain points during my training, but I don't now. I feel so good now. I can look back on those times and go, that trained me and prepared me for this. And now I feel amazing, and kept that positivity going because I felt so good because of that. And then in the run, when I was really struggling, I look back on the run training I did, like, no, you've pushed through this before. You can do it again. Remember those times that you crossed the finish line strong in other races you've done in your training and all that. And then just, again, visualize that finish line. Visualize what that would feel like when you finally cross it, those last half mile, last quarter mile, last 100 meters, whatever, and you just go for it. And that makes such a huge difference if you draw back on all those memories. That's what training does. It does train you physically for the race, but it trains you mentally for it.
Yeah. So
cool.
Yeah.
So let me throw this big question at you real quick.
Oh no.
So
I'm sitting down. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay, so someone, one of our listeners here, has a goal, right? And it could be any goal in the world, but let's just say, to make it relevant for you especially, they want to do an Olympic triathlon. That's where their heart's at. They haven't done one before. This is all kind of new. They know they could run a little bit, they could bike a little bit, swim, whatever, but they're jumping into this. What advice would you give them to help them crush their goal of rocking this race?
First off, I'd say sign up for the race, because a lot of people, I want to do an Ironman, I want to do a half, I want to do Olympic, I want to do a sprint, I want to do whatever, but they're scared and they haven't signed up for it. And I say, find one and sign up. Now you're committed.
Nice.
So now it's a reality, huh? Now it's no longer just this goal, I want to do one. It's no, I am doing one, I am committed. So, and then work backwards, and try to fill in the blanks. Like if you're like me and you love to race, throw some 5Ks in there, even if it's an Olympic, throw a century bike ride in there for charity, or sprinkle those things in there. And then, like what we talked about before, if it depends what your budget is. If you want to buy a training plan online, do it. If you have an advisor, use them, talk to them. Or if you don't have an advisor, get one or get a coach, and then just start setting yourself up. for success. And then also talk to the people around you. I mean, as you know, a half, it takes a lot of time. Like triathlon, it takes time. Like marathon training, let's say, yeah, you're running a lot more miles. So a lot of your elite runners are going to be, north of 100 miles a week. That takes time, but you can put your shoes on and you go out the door and you run and you come back and you're done. So you're say you're running, an hour to 90 minutes every day, then you might have a long run. So it's not as much, commitment time wise as triathlon. So I always tell people to make sure that you talk to your significant others and you tell your family, the ones say that live in a town and the ones that also live across country, hey, this is what I'm doing. And it's like, yeah, I would like your support, but I also just want to let you know that, I might miss a birthday, or if I'm at the birthday, if I smell bad because I haven't had time to take a shower,
Right.
kind of just get on the same page, because like me right now, I'm training 25 hours a week. And I would not be able to do that if it wasn't for my husband's support. So just make sure that you set your support network up too, because you never know. They'll be like, that is so awesome. So all of your runs, maybe they're going to do all of your runs with you, or, maybe you have a cousin that lives in the same town and they want to get into swimming. So then now you have training buddies.
Yeah. So I love that idea. Share it out. So share it out and get the support from your family and friends, especially significant others and the people in your household, to have support from them, because if you're going after a big goal like triathlon or any sport, but especially triathlon, that it takes so much time to train, you have to talk with them up, because it is going to affect them. It's going to affect their day. I know when I started training, really more for the half than the sprints I did before, because I skipped the Olympic distance. I went from sprints right into the half, and I told my wife, it's going to be a lot more time commitment, and I didn't want to lose time spent with her, so I woke up earlier.
Yeah.
And I was hitting the bike at 4 a.m. in the morning, like start pedaling at 4 a.m. and be
Yeah.
done by 6 so I could be ready for work. Or my Saturday mornings, I start by 5 a.m. with a headlamp on and all that stuff, just to get my big long workout done before our day really gets going. So it's that. So let me break down what you said real quick and make it more general for any goal. So you have this idea, and this, and you can correct me if I'm wrong with any of it. If you have this goal, you have this dream you want to achieve, whatever it is. First, you need to actually commit to it. Don't just say you'd like to do it. Actually commit to whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And then
physically commit to it. So, whether it's, say you want to go and get your master's, or you want to, I don't know, anything, like physically start taking actions to commit to it.
Right. Sign up for it. Do the things you need to do to actually be committed to it, not just verbally commit, but legitimately committed financially, whatever it is, so that you are going after that goal.
Yep.
So you have to commit fully to doing this.
Yep.
And then find, if I remember right, you said find the training plan that works for you to get there. So whether it's a training plan for a race, or the steps and procedures you need to do to reach that goal. Because I call it, and if you listen to the show before, you know that you have your goal, then you have your benchmarks, which are like your monthly steps to get that goal, and then you have your tasks underneath it that help you reach those benchmarks, which help you reach your goal. And it's the same thing with a race, or same thing with anything that you want to do, a goal that you have to build those steps to reach it, so you're not suffering the day of, or not reaching your goal, or whatever that is. And then lastly, talk with the people who are going to be affected by you going after this goal, whatever it is. It could be a big project at work, but if your time and energy is spent there, you're not going to be at home physically and or mentally there, because you're thinking about this goal, this project you have going on. So talking to people who are affected by it and affected by it, so that they're on board with you, they're going to be supportive of you. And you might have to work, you might have to compromise and adjust your plans. Like my wife is cool with me training, but she prefers that I do it earlier in the morning.
Yep.
so that we can spend that time together as opposed to doing it after work, right? I mean, because that's going to take more time away from our time. So it's finding that compromise. Does that sound kind of like the general framework?
Yep, exactly. So 3 steps, commit, physically, step 2, work backwards, set up a timeline, put a roadmap in place, training plan, calendar, whatever it is. And then 3 is get people involved that are going to be directly impacted with it.
I love it.
And I guess you can just do like a little asterisk in there, and then make sure that you reward yourself too. Like when you hit your benchmarks, whether someone's like trying to lose, say they're trying to lose weight, I feel like so many people will be like, oh, I hit, boom, like I lost 10 pounds and I hit this benchmark. Like don't forget to reward yourself when you're hitting those small targets, and going out for the big goal.
I think that's a great thing to mention because a lot of people don't do that. They get so focused on that big goal that all those small benchmarks, while they meet them, they don't celebrate them. And you need to celebrate, yes, the big wins, but also those small ones as well, because your big one is made up of all the small ones. So,
Yep.
Let's say you're losing weight, like you said, and you lost 10 pounds. Are you going to go out and like celebrate and go eat a whole chocolate cake? Well, probably not the best choice, but you can celebrate. You can have fun. You can go see a movie or do things that still align with your goals, but you could celebrate it. You could still enjoy those successes. I know I fully enjoyed successes when I survived my first 6-hour training workout. Like I felt happy that I survived it and I celebrated.
Yeah.
And whatever it is. So celebrate those small things. Awesome piece of advice. One last question here before we wrap her up for us today. If you could give our listeners any advice whatsoever to help them go after their big, scary goals, what would it be? What advice would you give them to help them succeed?
So I heard this advice a while ago, and it was, whatever your goal is, then double it.
It's a scary piece of advice right there.
Yeah. So it's like, whatever your goal is now double it, and then get shit done.
I love it. You go after it, go big or go home, make it scary, make it this big, hairy, audacious goal, as I like to say. Just go for it.
Yeah.
Alysha, it's been phenomenal to have you on our show. Thank you so much for being here. How can people find out more about you, learn about you, follow your crazy journeys, and hire you as a coach and do all that stuff? How can they learn more?
Yeah, so I have a website. It's just my first name, last name.com. So pretty simple. And then on Instagram, it's Ironwoman.Alysha.Krall. But you could probably just type in my first name, last name, and I'll pop up.
Perfect. So Alysha Krall, and if you want the links for that, make sure you check out the show notes, which are on my website, spencermjones.com. Just go to the Jonesin 4 show and click on the Ironwoman Alysha Krall episode there, and you can get all the links to her on Instagram and her website, so you can make sure you follow her. And I suggest go follow her. It's incredible watching her struggle and suffer and go through and reach these goals. You get to like celebrate with her, at least on the other side of the screen, going, yeah, she rocked it. It's so fun to watch her push herself and go after her goals. So I definitely go check her out and follow her. Alysha, thank you so much for being here. This has been incredible.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Everyone, if you like this episode, share it out. Help other people go after their goals. Share this out. Spread the love. Help them out. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any other episodes that we have here. And, write a review. Let us know what you think about it. Let Alysha know what you think about her being on here, and we can make more of these happen for you. So again, thanks so much, everyone. And until next time, I will catch you all later.